saw the sun begin to dim, felt the winter wind blow cold. A man learns who is there for him, but the glitter fades and the walls won't hold. 'Cause from then rubble, what remains can only be what's true. If all was lost, there's more I gained, 'cause it led me back to you. From now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the light. From now on, let's wait until tomorrow starts tonight. Tonight, let this promise in me start like an anthem in my heart. From now on, from now on. Drank champagne with kings and queens. The politicians praise my name, but those are someone else's dreams. The pitfalls of the men I became. For years and years, I chased these cheers, the crazy speed of always needing more. But when I stop and see you here, I remember what all this was for. From now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the light. And from now on, let's wait until tomorrow starts tonight. Starts tonight, and let this promise in me start like an anthem in my heart. From now on, from now on, from now on, and we will come back home again, and we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again, and we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again, and we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. From now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the light. From now on, let's wait until tomorrow starts tonight. It starts tonight. Let this promise in me start like an anthem in my heart. From now on, from now on, from now on, and we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again, and we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. From now on, from now on, home again. From now on, from now on, home again.
behalf of my colleagues in the School of Medicine and Health Sciences and the George Washington University, I am pleased to welcome all of you to our diploma and hooding ceremony. Thank you to our students who just performed that wonderful musical piece. We are so fortunate to have such incredibly talented students in so many domains. I'm Dr. Barbara Bass, the Vice President for Health Affairs, Dean of the School of Medicine and Health Sciences, and CEO of the GW Medical Faculty Associates. This afternoon, we are here to acknowledge and celebrate the success of each of our outstanding medical school graduates. We have a wonderful program of celebrations in store in this second virtual celebration. We have all experienced this last year, this vast global pandemic, in a very personal way, each in our own lived experience. And it's surely a period we never imagined and now will never forget. For those who have experienced this time as a member of the healthcare delivery team, as physicians, nurses, staff of all sorts who provide and enable patient care, and especially so relevant to those to whom we gather to celebrate today, those who have been formed into physicians during this historical pandemic, it has been a time of intense awareness of the pledges we make as physicians, our most solemn mission to provide care to the sick, despite the hazards to self. It has been a time when healthcare providers, including you young physicians in the making, have rightly been recognized and transformed into heroes. And in joining the noble profession of medicine over these last 12 months, you have each shown compassion, resilience, generosity, and bravery. We, your faculty and teachers of all sorts in this school, are so proud to have supported your growth and metamorphosis into doctors during this remarkable time. I offer a special welcome to the parents, grandparents, spouses, significant others, partners, children, family members, and friends of our graduates. You have all contributed a great deal to this day with the support you have given to your graduate, not only these last 4 years, but for the many years before, as their characters formed and goals were set. I personally thank you for those many formative gifts you have shared to create these accomplished, soon-to-be physicians. I ask also that we pause to reflect and recall all of those loved ones each of you has lost before this celebratory moment. I know their spirit is with us today. Let us take a moment to reflect on their lives, their gifts, and the loves they brought to each and every one of you. Thank you. And now on to our very special program for the afternoon. Today, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce two valedictorians of the MD class of 2021, Dr. Pradeep Ramamurthy and Dr. Caitlin Marie Ward.
We'd like to start off by saying we greatly appreciate this honor. We want to congratulate all of our fellow graduates on your amazing achievements. We cannot wait to see what the future has in store for us. It is now our privilege to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Luciana Borio. Luciana Borio is an infectious disease physician, medical public health administrator, and public health advocate. She served in leadership positions within the Food and Drug Administration and National Security Council under both the Obama and Trump administrations, where she directed efforts to prepare for emerging infectious diseases, public health emergencies, and biodefense. Most recently, Dr. Borio served as a member of the Presidential Transition COVID-19 Advisory Board. Dr. Borio obtained her MD in 1996 from George Washington University's School of Medicine and Health Sciences. She completed residency in 1999 in internal medicine at the Weill Cornell Medical Center and subsequently completed a combined fellowship in infectious diseases at Johns Hopkins University and critical care medicine at the National Institutes of Health.
Dr. Borio joined the U.S. Food and Drug Administration in 2008 as a medical officer within the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research. From 2010 to 2017, she served as Assistant Commissioner for Counterterrorism Policy. From 2015 to 2017, she also served as Acting Chief Scientist at the FDA. During her time at the FDA, Dr. Borio helped to lead the agency's medical countermeasures and public health responses to the 2009 to 10 H1N1 flu pandemic, the 2014 to 16 Ebola outbreak, and the 2015 to 16 Zika outbreak. From 2017 to 2019, Dr. Borio was the Director for Medical and Biodefense Preparedness Policy at the National Security Council. During her time at NSC, Dr. Borio coordinated the response to the Ebola epidemic in West Africa, efforts to combat antimicrobial resistance, and the development of an executive order to modernize America's influenza vaccines. She served as a member of the NSC's pandemic response team from 2017 to 2018. Dr. Borio is currently Vice President of Technical Staff at InQtel, a nonprofit venture capital firm focused on the delivery of innovative technologies to national security agencies. She is also an adjunct assistant professor of medicine at Johns Hopkins University and continues to practice medicine part-time at Johns Hopkins. And now it is our distinct honor to welcome Dr. Luciana Borio.
Good morning, graduates, as well as family, friends, faculty, and other VIPs, including beloved pets. Let me be among the first to say what you'll hear again and again in the coming days. Congratulations! You just completed one of the major milestones in your life, and you now have the privilege and the responsibility of being called by your richly deserved new title, a medical doctor. What's more, you earned this degree from one of the finest medical schools in the country, one that I'm proud to call my alma mater, and one that holds a permanent place in both my heart and mind. In other words, just as you are immensely proud of what you've accomplished, so am I absolutely thrilled to join you in commemorating it. To share this special day with you all is a deep honor. Yet, truth be told, I'm a little nervous. Ordinarily, I'd be addressing you from a podium. You'd be seated in row after row of folding chairs in Lisner Auditorium, surrounded by your peers. Obviously, that's not the case today. I'm speaking to you not from Foggy Bottom, but from my home. When I look out across the vast expanse in front of me, I don't see newly minted MDs. I see my family's living room that now doubles as a classroom for my daughters. For you two, the difference is dramatic. Instead of being in the same room as a speaker, you're watching me on a screen. This is not how things are supposed to be. It wasn't what you planned or expected. And frankly, it's weird to celebrate a joyous occasion like this virtually. Yet, that's the point I want to leave you with today. If there's only one takeaway you remember from my talk, let's make it this. As a physician, change is inevitable. Advances in medicine take place daily. Patients' clinical courses can be unpredictable. Progress is not linear. To thrive in this environment, you must get comfortable with uncertainty. You need to make peace with the fact that in the life of a doctor, change is the only constant. Back in 1996, I was in your robes, a fresh graduate of the George Washington School of Medicine and Health Sciences. I walked across the stage to receive my diploma from Dean Ackman and basked in the applause from my parents. And well, that's basically all I remember. Okay, the weather was nice, and I was of course excited. But 25 years later, I can't recall much else. That's because I wasn't focused on the present, but the future. I knew that what was next, internship, residency, fellowships, and boards, will be demanding and daunting. Indeed, for the next few years of your life, you'll be challenged emotionally, mentally, and physically every single day. At the same time, you'll grow and learn more than you can possibly imagine. And with a few tricks up your sleeve, you will thrive. Let me start with a story about my mother. As a child in Rio de Janeiro, I often heard my mom trot out a line that's as old as the Hippocratic Oath. If only I knew then what I know now. And eager to learn, I would invariably reply, why don't you just teach me? Were it that simple? With a smile, my dear mother would explain, "I can't teach you," she said. "There are some things in life that you must learn for yourself. Some things need to be experienced to be understood." You know what? There's truth in that. At the same time, with all due respect to my mother, her response was less than satisfying. Not everything has to be discovered through trial and error. To be blunt, I wish she would have sometimes just told me the answer. That's what I'd like to do for you today. I'd like to share 3 lessons about finding yourself and becoming a doctor. Story number 1. I came to the United States by myself right after graduating high school. This meant that for college and medical school, during some of the hardest periods of my life, I was an immigrant, alone in a foreign country. Happily at GW, I found a second home, a family that nourished and supported me. I fell in love with infectious diseases from Dr. Simon's pneumococcal lecture, learned about tropical diseases from Dr. Parenti, and discovered the imperative of mentorship from Dr. Tuazan. During my final year, Dr. Tuazan introduced me to Dr. Mazur, the Chief of Critical Care Medicine at the National Institutes of Health. Some of you may have met Dr. Mazur during his time in the clinical service at GW. If so, you know that he's a world-class physician and researcher. And I count my lucky stars that he saw fit to take me under his wing. Put simply, without his mentorship, I wouldn't have become the doctor who I am today. Why am I telling you this? Because if you don't have a mentor, then you need to get one. Tomorrow. Finding a mentor is the single best investment you can make in your career. Indeed, not only did Dr. Mazur guide me through my development as a doctor, he guided me through life. We kept in touch throughout my residency, after which I was accepted into his fellowship program. Today, we are colleagues and friends, yet his title has never wavered. He's still my mentor. I know that whenever I face a tough issue, how to treat a patient, whether to accept a job, what to discuss in a commencement address, I can always count on Dr. Mazur for candid counsel. He offers me a hand when I need help, a push when I need encouragement, and an ear when I need advice. Our relationship is grounded in honesty, and because he has my best interests at heart, I trust him implicitly. Thus, the lesson of story number 1, seek out a mentor, then prioritize that relationship. The best doctors work collaboratively. I promise you, behind every great doctor, whatever their specialty, whatever their seniority, wherever their location, there's a colleague they turn to for guidance and support. Story number 2. Recently, one of my dear patients who I've been treating since my early fellowship thanked me for saving her life. I didn't expect her to say something so powerful during a routine visit. "What do you mean?" I asked. "When I met you," she explained, "I had just been discharged from the hospital. I was using drugs and I had advanced AIDS. You looked me in the eyes and asked one question. Do you want to live or do you want to die?" End quote. I was dumbstruck, not to mention mortified. "Did I really say that?" I asked. "Yep," came the reply. "And thank you for doing so. That meant you cared, and that was exactly the spark that I needed to turn my life around." That, graduates, is lesson number 2. No matter how brilliant you are, no matter how many papers you've published or awards you've received, few qualities are as important as your commitment to your patients. To paraphrase Dr. Francis Peabody, the secret to the care of your patient depends on your care for your patient. That's right, your attitude matters as much as your aptitude. As the poet Maya Angelou put it, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. and my patient felt cared for. This axiom that empathy exceeds experience is important in its own right, but is especially relevant in light of our technological age. To wit, some say that it's only a matter of time before robots and algorithms replace doctors. Already, artificial intelligence is reading certain radiological images more accurately and efficiently than radiologists. And let's not forget about the all-knowing Dr. Google. Technology is transforming medicine, but it can't displace you if you hold on to what's essential, the caring for your patients. Nor can technology advocate for your patients as well as you can. In short, Siri and Alexa have neither the sensitivity nor the sagacity to ask a dying woman, do you want to live or do you want to die? Story number 3. In the coming weeks, you'll start your internships. Some of you will stay in Washington and others will explore life beyond the Beltway. Regardless of your destination, you all share one trait in common. The next few years will constitute one of the most challenging stretches of your life. It's hard to fathom the demands you'll confront. You'll witness young children losing a young mother to cancer. You witness parents losing a child to a prolonged battle with a debilitating condition. You'll witness partners who navigated decades together, only for one to be left alone in the twilight of their life when their loved one is gone. I won't sugarcoat the truth. There will be days when you'll question the career you've chosen, where you ask yourself, is this worth it? Let me be clear. Yes, it is. The answer will always be yes. Never forget, there's no greater calling than medicine. How do you succeed in this environment, let alone maintain your composure? Here's a secret that no one tells you. You need to juggle caring for your patients with caring for yourself. All too often, we doctors overlook the latter. It's a stubborn fact that in medicine, and especially during our years of training, we rarely choose when we eat or when we sleep. Our schedules are often not of our own making. When faced with these circumstances, 2 things will help you above all else. You need to know when you reach your limit, and when that happens, you need to ask for help. Let me put the point this way. Treat yourself kindly. Make your own health and well-being a priority. Medicine can be so exciting that we doctors tend to neglect ourselves and our personal relationships. Don't make that mistake. Reciprocate the love and support from the people who matter most to you. It's not only your patients who need your attention, it's also your friends and family. Graduates of 2021, class of COVID, today's a day to celebrate and rejoice, to take stock of your magnificent accomplishment, and to thank all of those who helped you get here. I know it hasn't been easy. You earned your degree during a time of great turmoil. You're the first class to cut its teeth in the worst pandemic of more than 100 years. As a result, you're about to practice medicine in a world that's been profoundly altered. Pandemics test our every societal norm. They inflict economic devastation. They try our faith in our political leaders. They break the spirit of even the most seasoned and hardened clinicians. Yet, a pandemic also offers opportunities to build back better, as President Biden likes to say. For example, COVID has unmasked health disparities that are, in a word, unacceptable. Your role in rectifying this gap, speeding and shaping a more just future will be critical. It will be your class and your generation that will steer people where they need to be, toward a society where one's social standing does not dictate one's health. The journey won't be steady and timetables are imprecise which makes it even the more important that you remain wedded to advocating tirelessly for your patients. And here's another pandemic-propelled example. COVID has bolstered biomedical research to new heights. mRNA technology, which had been an obscure development since the 90s, has in less than a year brought us vaccines that are incredibly safe and effective. In fact, we're now testing mRNA technology for the individualized treatment of certain cancers. This is the stuff we've dreamed about, and now it's within our grasp. And there's more. Advanced data integration will make your diagnosis easier. Telemedicine will help many people access vital care. Wearable sensors will facilitate clinical research. The changes can be overwhelming, but they're also so exciting. This is an exciting time to be a doctor. We're on the cusp of once-in-a-lifetime breakthroughs, and it's folks like you who represent humanity's best hope. I know you'll do us proud, so thank you in advance and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Borio, for your inspiring remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here and participating in this special MD hooding ceremony this afternoon. I want to just take a moment to congratulate all of the members of the class of 2021. My name is Dr. Richard Simons, and I have the pleasure of serving as a Senior Associate Dean for MD programs. On this day of celebration, we think it is also important to acknowledge all of those individuals that together make this medical school a terrific place to learn to become physicians. So if you will indulge me for a moment, I will take a moment to recognize those folks who are a part of this medical school and who are not graduating today. In addition to the faculty and administration, let me also acknowledge the other students in the School of Medicine and Health Sciences, the librarians and their staff, the dean's office, the admissions office, the communications office, and the financial aid office staffs, the departmental staffs, the building maintenance and security staff, the house staff, nurses, and clinical staffs, and all of our training sites, and mostly to the patients. Let me ask all of you to thank all of these individuals for their special role they played in the education of our medical students and for helping these graduates reach this important milestone. I now call your attention in the program to the names of those students in the class of 2021 who are graduating with distinction as members of honor societies and who have been named recipients of awards and prizes while in medical school. Congratulations to all of you who have achieved this special recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, the MD graduates of the George Washington University School of Medicine and Health Sciences.
Dr. Sion Abraham. Dr. David Agdashian. Dr. Aslam Abbasi Akhtar. Dr. Neil Derek Almeida. Dr. Maria Al-Saman. Dr. Iman Ali. Dr. Prableen Kaur Aneja. Dr. Gabrielle Aquino. Dr. Christine Francis Archuleta. Dr. Zaina Marwa Bakizada. Dr. Ruby Bark. Dr. Frankie Ying Chen Barufi. Dr. Sivan Ben Maimon. Dr. Daniel Ezekiel Besteris. Dr. Spencer Daniel Brodsky. Dr. Sierra Rose Brown. Dr. Joshua Eugene Burkholder. Dr. Nicole Marie Sineri. Dr. Maria Abigail Sungalung Cerezo.
Dr. Emily Chan.
Dr. Melissa Chan.
Dr. Hannah Rosemarie Chase. Dr. Srinidhi Chinchilapani. Dr. Camille Nulani Chun. Dr. Christina Houston Clark. Dr. Colleen Faye Considine. Dr. Annabelle Dorothy Krosky. Dr. Christina Darwish. Dr. Ishan P. Darya. Dr. Gifty Aboage Domina. Dr. Neil Dugal. Dr. Patrick Dunn. Dr. Andres Eduardo Elovic. Dr. Sarah Jean Imamian. Dr. Malay Salika E. Finau. Dr. Megan Fierst. Dr. Brenda Lee Gable. Dr. Brittany Imani Gordon. Dr. Jonathan George Gugele. Dr. Melissa Ann Greenblatt.
Dr. Noor Habush. Dr. Marin Haley. Dr. Charlie Hartley. Dr. Lori Hirapachan. Dr. Trevor Talbot Habenstreit. Dr. Megan McHale Hennessy. Dr. Eric Samuel Hoffman. Dr. Nathaniel Charles Hollister. Dr. Matthew James Houle. Dr. Elaine Bywater Hines. Dr. Bryn A. Ichiuji. Dr. Danish Mohammed Imtiaz. Dr. Celia Shoily Islam. Dr. Samantha Arden Izuno. Dr. Brianna Jong. Dr. Cheryl Marin Johnson. Dr. Katina Kartalias. Dr. Pranav Kaul. Dr. Samana Keshavars.
Dr. George Kludenev. Dr. Jasenia Alicia Elsa Knowles. Dr. Megan Brigitte Kogenkramer. Dr. Sindhu Kubindran. Dr. Nithin Suresh Kumpanda. Dr. Isaac Anson Lichtenstein. Dr. Alicia Thomas Lipscomb. Dr. Josh Adam Lipsitz. Dr. Taneen Magasudi. Dr. William Klaus May. Dr. Traceed McConan. Dr. Ashwarya Shraddha Mamidi. Dr. Ari Mandler. Dr. Marissa Gabriella Mangini. Dr. Daniel Marsden. Dr. Harleen Kaur Marwa. Dr. Mary Catherine Mataki. Dr. Kime Cleary McClintock. Dr. Margaret Christine Michael. Dr. Rose Sakaya Milando. Dr. Mitra Mozami. Dr. Kimia Momeni. Dr. Chantel Nguyen.
Dr. Moena Iris Nishikawa. Dr. Juan Carlos Nogues. Dr. Renda Obed. Dr. Chanello Lynette Agnillofor. Dr. Jellica Martina Ormond. Dr. Kendra V. Osei. Dr. Omer Osman, Dr. Orjun Panda, Dr. Vivian Pat, Dr. Kristen Nicole Patrick, Dr. Melissa Ann Peace, Dr. Abigail Pepin, Dr. Alva Shariz Powell, Dr. Natalie Pud Olive, Dr. Christina Puglisi, Dr. Margot Coleman Quinn, Dr. Pradeep Ramamurthy, Dr. Madhuri Rao, Dr. Sanjana Rao, Dr. Abigail Grace Rapp, Dr. Ghazal Rashidi,
Dr. Stephen Richards, Dr. Aida Droman Salcedo, Dr. Natalie Elena Russo, Dr. Nushin Sadeghi. Dr. Alexandra Leon Seferovich. Dr. Timothy Shim. Dr. Ezra Schoen. Dr. Tula Siddiqui. Dr. Preet Kaur Sohal. Dr. Alexander John Strawn. Dr. Benjamin Taylor. Dr. Daniel Thomas. Dr. Amy Nicole Tronier. Dr. Mary M. Saturian. Dr. Christian Arnold Simon Van Nispen. Dr. Reshma Varghese. Dr. Lauren Marie Villardo. Dr. Taylor Nicole Warrenbrock. Dr. Tanaya Varney Walker. Dr. Caitlin Marie Ward. Dr. Tess Alexandra Whiteside. Dr. Alexander J. Yang. Dr. Kaylin Yao. Dr. Nadia Safar. Dr. Rachel Ariel Zimmel. Dr. Molly Jean Zepp.
Dr. Leora Eisman. Dr. Reem Kabas Al-Shabib. Dr. Matthew Edward Doyle Atienza. Dr. Dara Rachel Baker.
Dr. Stacy Chun. Dr. Bianca Georgakopoulos. Dr. Benjamin Good.
Dr. Simran Gupta. Dr. Taylor William Hand. Dr. Kyle Hen. Dr. Louisa Carrigan Fitzsimmons Howard. Dr. Chenmin Stephen Hung. Dr. Arman Hussein. Dr. Reina Kaji.
Dr. Ryan P. Lynn. Dr. Catherine F. McCullum. Dr. Mohammed Meyer.
Dr. Paulina Angeline Ong. Dr. Deepika Potarazu. Dr. Mo Rahman.
Dr. Kyle Carlson Roach. Dr. Thomas Rodenhouse. Dr. Alex Rockney. Dr. Zachary Aaron Satin. Dr. Maxwell Lee Summerlin. Dr. Kalmuthi Thirunagaru. Dr. Chapman Way.
Dr. Mardine Aves. Dr. Peter Zachary Berger.
Dr. Philip Trace Ha'aha'okalani de la Cruz. Dr. Felix Granovsky.
Dr. Darius Kafashzadeh.
Dr. Pauline Bora Lee.
Dr. Erica Pasha'i. Dr. Jai Ponmali Potawat.
Wow, fantastic. Congratulations to all of our graduates. And now it's my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Pranav Kaul, who has been selected by his classmates to offer the class address.
To friends and family, members of the faculty and administration, honored guests and graduates, thank you for this opportunity to speak today. I'm here today on your TVs and computers to congratulate you. We did it. 4 years of lecture checklists and following exam answers along the walls of Ross 101, spewing verbal diarrhea on Atkins rounds, or sitting quietly on an empty Zoom call. And truthfully, the countless number of lessons that I've learned from each and every single one of you on how to be a better clinician and a better student, but also how to be a better human and a better friend. Tragically, that is not what I'll be talking about today, because 5 minutes is not nearly enough time to capture everything that you all have taught me these last 4 years. And to be honest, this is very weird for me. We're all familiar with these graduation speeches that are inundated with these anecdotes and lessons of perseverance or integrity or advocacy. And to me, that feels strange. Not because these values aren't important. They absolutely are. But because this past year, I have gained the full faith and confidence that our class already possesses these traits, and certainly doesn't need a medical student of all people lecturing them about values. We're about to graduate in the wake of the greatest public health disaster of our lives thus far. And when I reflect on this, I think back to the last generation of doctors to do so, during the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Names like Ackman and Deaton, Haywood and Scott, names that we've all grown familiar with over the past several years that shaped our education and our public health institutions, but also shaped their own lives and their own families and communities. And yet, on July 1st, there's going to be this nagging thought in the back of all of our minds. Affectionately, we call it imposter syndrome. It convinces us that we don't belong and we're powerless in decision-making. And I'm here today with a reminder that we need to give ourselves a break. We are no longer imposters in this profession. And as proof of that today, rather than any quotes or qualities, I just wanted to take some time to share with the world a glimpse into the numbers of brilliant humans that comprise our class and what we've accomplished both professionally and personally. So this is my shout out to those of us like Dr. Hines, Dr. Rao, Dr. Thomas, and the many others who answered the calls of concerned DC area residents late into the night through the DC COVID call center. To those of us like Dr. Tronier, who crafted PPE for our emergency staff in the earliest stages of the pandemic when it was sorely needed. To those of us like Dr. Izuno, Dr. Quinn, Dr. Ong, Dr. Imamian, Dr. Hoffman, and the many, many others who tested thousands upon thousands of patients through our COVID testing sites at GW, UMC, and at Bread for the City. To those of us like Drs. McClintock and Nishikawa, who helped support our healthcare workers through child and home care services. To those of us like Dr. Marwa, Dr. Dougal, Dr. Yao, and the many, many of us who contributed to a community resource guide for DC area residents to help them guide them through this pandemic that was full of uncertainty. To those of us like Dr. Summerlin and Dr. Maksudi, who had the impossible task of bringing us together again as a community in a time of near total isolation. To those of us like Dr. Aquino, Dr. Bestros, and the many others on class council who advocated tirelessly for us for both our education and our wellness. To the countless numbers of us who modeled public health behaviors by staying at home, by wearing masks, and by socially distancing. To the many of us who didn't shy away from calling institutionalized racism what it is, a public health crisis that needs to be actively dismantled. To the many of us who maintained that impossible balance of being both a caregiver and a professional student. To all of us who felt lost in this past year, whether through lost time or through lost moments, both for celebration and for mourning. And to the 150 plus others who I didn't name, who all demonstrated perseverance and determination through a pandemic to achieve the improbable achievement of becoming an MD, and for some being the first in their family to ever do so. My hope for us today is that we're reminded to be confident and proud of ourselves. And with that, we will do and create great big things. For our patients and our profession, yes, but more importantly, for ourselves and our families and communities. Why? Because we already have. And now some of you may say, Pranav, look, we get it, but that doesn't matter because institutional barriers to change seem insurmountable. And while many of us have lost faith in our institutions over these past years, and for some over these past centuries, I'm here to tell you that they are still capable of change. And if you don't believe me, look no further than the fact that this is not a Step 2 CS exam. In the span of a few months last year, a small group of thoughtful and committed medical students and educators led a group of thousands to suspend this exam that was bemoaned by many as ineffective and costly. And while we can certainly disagree on the merits of discontinuing this exam, we cannot disagree on the merits of small groups to effect large change. And we ourselves are a small group, about to become the bottom rung of this very, very seemingly tall ladder. But the bottom rung is the first step in everything, and that includes change. Margaret Mead, the former president of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, said it better than I ever could. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you again, all, for this opportunity to speak today. To our friends, our families, our mentors, our institution, thank you all for your support. And seriously, to my classmates, to my colleagues, my friends, congratulations.
Dear students, dear graduates, first and foremost, my congratulations to each and every one of you. Well done. A bit selfishly, my congratulations are coupled to pride as the dean of this school, knowing that we are now delivering to our public, our city, our region, our nation, and yes, our world, a new cohort of physicians that will go on to be invaluable contributors to the health of the communities you will serve. I am proud to know that most of you will become trusted physicians, allies with your patients, a physician who will guide them in health and illness, always serving their needs and honoring their wishes as your greatest gift and privilege. I'm proud to know that some of you will go on to careers in science and will make discoveries that will transform our ability to cure or, yes, prevent current deadly and debilitating diseases, an invaluable career pathway that has served our nation with astounding benefit in this last year of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm proud that some of you will embrace education as a core professional activity, some as formal educators and faculty in our own or other schools and colleges of medicine, and for all as daily teachers to the healthcare teams you lead and the patients you serve. I'm proud that some of you will go on to positions that serve our healthcare delivery systems as leaders who drive equitable access to quality, patient-centered healthcare for all people as a human right in this great nation. As physicians who will become leaders in the domains at the boundaries around medicine, as leaders in healthcare policy, in advocacy for healthcare for all, and yes, in the political system that forms the laws that govern healthcare delivery in our states and federal systems. I hope your time here at DC And only a GW moment has made clear that even these roles are part of creating and delivering our healthcare mission. None of these things, from patient-centered compassionate care to transformational policies in healthcare access and delivery, just happen. They happen because of people with passion, with the skills, training, and lifelong commitment to stay at the top of their games, jump in, lead, and persevere. And they care and do all they can to create the valuable impact in making our people and communities healthy. I am thrilled to know that in this very group of graduates, that we have individuals who will go on to do these many great things over the course of their careers ahead. Knowing that, as a dean, and as the faculty who have taught and guided you, is a marvelously gratifying observation for us. I thank you now, in advance, on behalf of all who have raised you here at GW, for those marvelous careers to come. I want to spend just a moment on the special group that you are. During these 4 magical years that you have become physicians, we have seen how intelligent you are, how compassionate and generous you are, how ambitious you are in reaching your ever-escalating professional goals, how hardworking and honest you are, how clearly you express your commitment to social justice and inclusive excellence for all. Fantastic. And I thank you for sharing these qualities now and in the future. We have seen these qualities manifest in your energized call to action in battling the COVID pandemic as testers, researchers, vaccine ambassadors, and providers, as volunteers of all sorts. You have been amazing and have been front and center to the greatest challenge and transformation of the global medical research enterprise and healthcare delivery system in the world's history. And while by many metrics we have suffered immensely, with the loss of almost 3 million lives around the globe and nearly 600,000 lives lost right here in our nation alone, we have also seen the creation of multiple highly effective and safe vaccines delivered from the decades of biological and clinical research of physicians and scientists like you. These vaccines will be our tickets back to a healthy world in the coming year. Every element of healthcare has been touched by this pandemic. And lucky you, you have had your foundation as a physician embedded in this historical time. Fantastic. What an amazing opportunity. And what a great time to be entering this world as a physician. But even absent this historical time, I want to remind you that you were admitted to this school and now exit as physicians because of your exceptional skills, attributes, and human qualities. You are a special and now privileged group. Funny, but I bet you don't always feel that way. I expect there have been moments on this journey that have felt daunting, especially in this last year. These exceptional qualities can also set you up for exceptional burdens. You expect great things from yourself, but sometimes feel insufficient, an imposter in this high-performance land. Others expect great things from you and are stunned or disappointed when there is a step back or a slip. We, in this privileged profession, often have a hard time taking our foot off the accelerator, both internally and to maintain the impression of others. Well, just as a reminder, you are special, but you are also human, and you need to treat yourself with kindness and forgiveness in the many years ahead. Your family and friends will be vital to your wellness in the future. Take care of those relationships, please. But some of our shared professional burdens are understood at our core only by another physician. A bad outcome for a patient, an error in patient care, a lapse in judgment. When these things happen, you will feel bad, personally, really bad. Or there will be moments when life events, a loss of a dear loved one, an illness, an accident, a financial hardship, events that will shake your professional foundation. And when those moments come, you need to recognize that these are the challenging events that are embedded in the career paths we have chosen. And you must pause, reflect, and seek help from a peer, a professional, or another trusted person. And dear colleagues, I charge you as well to be your sister and brother's keepers. Be mindful of others' life and professional stressors, and reach out with a supportive offer to listen without judgment, just to listen and support. You can do this. I know. This last year has once again, perhaps in the starkest terms that I have seen in my 7 decades of life, revealed that our nation is built on centuries of human inequity in our nation. Inequity in access to wealth, inequity in access to justice, inequity in access to personal safety, inequity in housing, education, opportunity, and privilege, inequity in access to inclusion, and of course, inequity in healthcare access and service. Racism, misogyny, bigotry, centuries in the making against so many populations in our nation. Black and brown people, people of Asian and Pacific Islanders, the native people of this country, our LGBTQ community. Women and girls continue to be manifest in ugly daily realities. Whose job is that to fix? Yours, mine, ours. We start one day and one person at a time, righting old wrongs as member of a privileged leadership group in our nation. I'm keenly aware that these inequities continue to be manifest even in our elite profession, among we privileged people of our nation. As a school, we've launched numerous actionable initiatives to dismantle the structures that have allowed persistent inequity in even our privileged community here at GW. Our Anti-Racism Coalition, the work of our White Coats for Black Lives student groups, and the Committee on Diversity and Inclusive Excellence are providing important goals, metrics, and initiatives to guide us to true inclusive excellence, unencumbered by structural barriers. I ask that each of you commit to action in your upcoming roles as residents around the nation to dismantle the old structures and build new structures that will allow us all to be at our best personally and in serving our diverse nation. Use your privilege, apply your exceptional intelligence and skills to creating a new society built on justice and equality for all. But for today, let's all celebrate. Let's celebrate your fantastic accomplishments. Let's celebrate that in a few short minutes you will write MD after your name. Let's record this special moment as a durable memory that you share with friends, family, loved ones, and peers. Let's imprint this virtual moment into the very place where you are. Your home, someone's home, a park, a beautiful place, wherever you are. I guarantee you won't remember many words of today, but you will remember the music of classmates, the thrill as that hood is placed over your head, and that solemn recognition of what you are beginning as you state the Hippocratic Oath for the first time. You will remember where you are and who you are with, and the sense of excitement, pride, relief, and maybe a tiny touch of apprehension as you recognize the burden and privilege you are taking on in the years ahead as a medical doctor. I wish you all of those feelings and memories durably recorded in your consciousness for the years ahead. And I welcome you to our tribe, rich with traditions and rituals, and most importantly, the shared purpose of healing. As you join your new teams as a PGY1 resident in the weeks ahead, know that you are ready. Know that your faculty, staff, deans are all proud to have helped lift you to this moment. You are now our terrific GW ambassadors to the world of medicine. So to each of you, go forward to do your great work as a physician. You are ready. With all my best wishes to each of you, I thank you. Here at GW, our tradition is that we ask all physicians in the audience to reaffirm their vows along with the graduating class. I will ask that the following several groups of physicians say the oath of Hippocrates with us. I invite all MD parents and grandparents of our graduates, MD spouses and significant others and partners of our graduates, all GW Medical School alumni, and all other physicians present. And finally, will the class of 2021 join your colleagues? I invite you all to join me in affirming or reaffirming our commitment to serve as exemplary members of our honorable profession. As a physician who will always practice and serve one's patients with adherence to the noble oath of Hippocrates. The oath can be found inside the front cover of your program. Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear,
I do solemnly swear,
by that which I hold most sacred,
or by all I hold most sacred,
that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine,
that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine,
and just and generous to its members,
and just and generous to its members,
that I will lead my life and practice my art
that I will lead my life and practice my art
in uprightness and honor,
in uprightness and honor,
that into whatsoever house I shall enter,
that into whatsoever house I shall enter,
it shall be for the good of the sick,
it shall be for the good of the sick,
to the utmost of my power,
to the utmost of my power.
I, holding myself aloof from wrong,
I, holding myself aloof from wrong,
from corruption,
from corruption,
from the tempting of others to vice,
for the tempting of others to vice,
that I will exercise my art
that I will exercise my art
solely for the care of my patients,
solely for the care of my patients,
and will give no drug,
and will give no drug,
perform no operation for a criminal purpose,
Perform no operation for a criminal purpose,
even if solicited,
even if solicited,
far less suggested,
far less suggested,
that whatsoever I shall see or hear
that whatsoever I shall see or hear
of the lives of people which is not fitting to be spoken,
of the lives of people, which is not fitting to be spoken,
I will keep inviolably secret.
I will keep inviolably secret.
These things I do promise,
these things I do promise,
and in proportion as I am faithful to this my oath,
and in proportion as I am faithful to this oath.
May happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite if I shall be forsworn.
May happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite if I shall be forsworn.
Congratulations, doctors, colleagues, and all. On behalf of the George Washington University School of Medicine and Health Sciences, I want to thank you for joining us today for this wonderful celebration. Be well, be brave, be generous and kind. And congratulations to our graduates.